Hello everyone, welcome to our program, Books and Authors. I'm your host, Terry Kelly, and I'd like to start off with a question for you. Have you ever thought of the end of the world? What do you think might cause it? Would you ever think that a guitar might cause the end of the world? Today we're speaking with Jeremy Wagner about guitars and the end of the world. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thanks, Terry. It's nice to be here.
It's nice to meet you. So now you're a rock and roll musician, right?
That is correct. That's a big part of my past history and current history, I guess. I still write and perform music, yeah.
And how did you get started?
Probably when I was around 12 years old. I have an aunt who's a folk singer and guitarist, and I was really mesmerized by watching her play a guitar, an acoustic guitar. Not
this one.
Not one as nice as this instrument you have here on the set, but and I was like, it was magical to see an instrument played and sound, and you know, I'd heard albums, of course. I grew up listening to my parents' Beatles records and stuff, but to see a guitar played, it was magic. So I wanted one. And I got my first acoustic guitar when I was 12 as a gift from my mother. And I had it, and like most kids who want something, they quickly lose interest, you know, whether it's ADD or something, you just move on to something else. So I didn't really get serious about it until I was around 15, and MTV was just starting out, and I was in the heavy metal bands, and I was like, wow, now that's really powerful what, you know, a guitar could do. Yeah, so
loud noise.
I got my first electric guitar right around then, and then I got really serious with lessons and, you know, learning the instrument upside down, left and right, and it's all I cared about doing. So from there, formed bands in high school, eventually got signed right out of high school, and spent basically the next 12 years of my life during that time, the 90s, writing, recording, and touring the world.
And what was your band?
My first real band was Broken Hope, and we put out 5 albums and an MTV video. And most fans and other bands in the death metal genre would know Broken Hope. We're pretty over the top with our I guess heaviness factor, if you will, in our lyrics and loudness. Yep. And
ouch.
That band. Wear your earplugs. We disbanded in 2000, and I formed a new band around 2005 called Lupara, and we have 1 album and 1 MTV video out, and we're currently writing album number 2.
Oh, and how do you spell the name of it?
Lupara, and interesting note, the name Lupara comes from the novel The Godfather. Yeah. And a Lupara is a sawed-off Sicilian shotgun that the mafioso soldiers used in Sicily. So there you go.
So if anyone is wondering what the name of the band means, now they know.
Yep. Yes.
So now let's get to this book, The Armageddon Chord.
Yeah.
You have some strange characters in here. You know, I must say that when I first saw the book, I thought, oh no, this is going to scare me and I'm going to have nightmares, like when I read Stephen King and Joyce Carol Oates and couldn't sleep for months.
Sure.
Because they scared the daylights out of me.
Right.
And then I realized it wasn't going to keep me up at night, give me nightmares. It was just a fun read.
Yeah, well, I'm delighted to hear that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Now the characters, let's talk about some of these characters. The hero of the book is Kirk.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about Kirk.
Kirk Weistow, he's, when you first meet him as a reader, you meet a guy who is established as this guitar god, a guitar hero, if you will.
Like an Eric Clapton.
Yeah, he's already, he already has a huge name in the world of rock and roll and heavy metal. You learn his backstory as like a prodigy on guitar who came up through the ranks quickly at a young age with his talent, where he got into huge arena, you know, sellout size bands, rock and roll metal, and he cut his teeth touring the world and selling millions of albums, and then eventually, by the time the present, you know, the present in the novel comes around, he's doing his own solo albums. He's just doing stuff for himself. He's a virtuoso. Music and the guitar art is basically his religion. That's all he believes in, all he wants to do, and he always pushes himself to be better and to take the instrument to places it's never gone. So that's the gist of Kirk Weistow. I think you know, he's definitely a good-hearted soul, and he just wants to do music, and it's his career, and he's been very fortunate to do so. And along with being such a megastar, he's quite grounded still. You know,
he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I met him in the book, I liked him a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I thought, oh,
that's awesome.
He's cool. So I wanted to know more about him because he was just really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now his publicist, his manager.
Yes, his agent.
His agent. Rod.
Yep,
Yikes.
Rod Yeagerwood, yeah.
What a creepy guy.
He's very slippery.
He's a
and
pain.
Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about someone who's not out for their client's best interests. That's the guy, you know. And I tried to, based on my own experience, being a recording artist on an independent heavy metal record label, I met everybody you could meet from. I've had booking agents to promoters at shows, to managers, to record label presidents, who all were not too desirable, you know, and they.
Yeah.
I drew from just my own personal experience a culmination of these personalities to kind of make Rod Yeagerwood, who in the book, he's very reputable. He works for a super huge agency, and he represents movie stars and rock stars and mega talent, but it's always about Rod at the end, and he wants his commission, his cut, and at the sacrifice of his clients in most cases. So he pushes, you know, Kirk Weistow to do some things that end up not being so good for him. Yeah.
Right. And thereby hangs a tale.
Yes. Yeah, that's a tale in itself.
Right.
And that pushes him down the journey he goes on. Yeah.
That's right. Now there's a guy that I really didn't like. I did not like this guy, and his name is... Can you guess who it is?
Well, it's got to be one of two other guys that are unwholesome.
Who's the one that I really didn't like the most?
I'm going to guess you really did not like Helmut Hartkopf.
Yeah, I really did not like him. But the other one,
and his
Festus,
and his boss, Festus Bostone III.
Oh,
they're both nasty.
They were fun to hate. I hated both of them. They were horrible, creepy guys.
Yeah, I had a book reviewer who, by the 4th chapter or 5th chapter of the book, sent me an email, said, "Let you know I'm reviewing your book. Got it from the publisher. I got your email off your website. I already want to slap Festus Bostone III right now." I'm like, that's great. I made a nice bad character for you to hate, you know.
Yeah, they were really bad. They were awful.
Yeah.
But we won't say too much more about them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they're bad on their own, and together they're unimaginably bad. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. In really weird ways.
Yeah.
But now there's something in the book about hieroglyphics and archaeology. So you might say, well, how on earth does that fit in? Archaeology and heavy metal rock music and these two guys, these nasty guys, who are kind of tying these two things together. So can you tell a little bit about the archaeological side of it?
Sure, and actually another important component, Terry, is this biblical element too that's intertwined with the Egyptian history. Yeah. And this world of rock and roll and guitars and stuff. The story spans thousands of years when you look at the whole overview. So you learn, the reader learns that the hieroglyphics that are discovered in this pyramid that's buried beneath tons of sand is actually a song. And the character you mentioned, Helmut Hartkopf, is the world's leading Egyptologist who discovers this and deciphers these hieroglyphics and says, well, this is one part a message and one part music. And the message is, whoever transcribes this song from these hieroglyphics and can perform it for the world to hear will, in turn, in that performance, that's a key to unlocking the abyss, if you will. The Egyptians called it something else. They called Satan by another name, Sethus, and yeah, one of many deities. We call him Satan, and it's basically the biblical revelation, if you will. You know, the apocalypse, the rapture, all that stuff will happen. But it'll all happen because of this song, again, being played. That's part of the key. It has to be heard by the world, and for all these events to occur. So the song is discovered. Helmut calls his boss, Festus Bostone III, who's a multi-billionaire who funds the dig for this pyramid, and says, "Hey, I found this song written in hieroglyphics, and it says if it's performed, if we can, uncode this thing through music and do this, we'll be made immortal for aiding, this key to turn and unlock the door." Right. And Festus, who's dying of cancer, basically.
Yeah, he has bone cancer.
Bone cancer. He's like, well, I've got nothing to lose. Let's see if this really happens. As far-fetched as it sounds, go for it. So
yeah, because he was going to die anyway. So.
Yeah, right. He tried everything else to try curing himself and had no luck. So they find Kurt Weistow in a search for the greatest guitarist who's alive today that could help do this. And Terry, I got to tell you, the concept of weird hieroglyphics turned into music, that's a cool concept just to say off the top of your head. Yeah. But writing and describing how the heck you transcribe it to music,
that was fun.
It was fun, and it was a real test to my abilities as a writer to really figure out how to do it. And I'll let the readers read how it was done, but I think I pulled it off. So anyway, leading up to that point, as Kirk, as you read, begins playing the song, once he's fully figured out with the help of Helmut how to make them into notes and do all this stuff, dark, foreboding things start happening around him. And then you enter into this priest where the biblical
he was so much fun to read about.
Yeah.
Padre Zaccarelli.
That's right, exactly. I got the name, by the way, from a Sicilian neighbor who used to live next to my grandpa.
Oh, that's a good name.
The Zaccarellis, yeah. So that's my nod to them. So anyway, that's where you enter into this biblical aspect that, again, covers you know, ancient biblical history, the crucifixion, all that stuff.
That was fun. You
that
know,
gets in there. Yeah.
You have so many disparate ideas here, and you pulled them all together. It's like they just don't belong together, like Egyptology and rock music, and this, they just, but you pulled it all together so that it's all working together.
Yeah.
Just like those two creepy guys
Yeah.
working together. Oh, and their henchmen, weren't they fun?
Oh, they were nasty too. When I read a novel, just
so
as
weird.
a fan, like a bad guy, to me, a real bad guy is someone who, as a reader, that I loathe. I want, you know, I want justice or something done to that
You
person.
did. You fixed his wagon.
You know, and I yeah. So I put, you know, I have that that perspective, you know. And when I write, I mean, I don't consciously think ahead, like, okay, I'm going to do this, and that to make them really nasty. It just flows as the story goes, and you know, whatever their actions are or their personality.
Yeah.
And when the dust settles, you know the characters you like, who you're rooting for, and then the bad people are bad. Yeah.
Well, that bad guy, the bodyguards, those two guys were funny. I mean, you
yeah.
reading about them made me laugh because they were such jerks.
Yeah.
And they weren't too bright.
No.
And they weren't
Thugs.
nice. They were thugs.
Yeah.
Right. And one of them got the real deal. But
Oh,
we
he
won't
did,
say
yeah, right.
what happened to him, but something.
Yep.
Well,
Just remember Donnie and Mr. Jaspers, the two
Donnie
henchmen.
and Mr. Jaspers and Donnie were they're bad guys, they're thugs, but they're trying to behave and do their job.
Right.
And I guess they think what they're doing is the right thing.
Right.
And they tried their hardest.
Well, they enjoy
Beating people up
they
and-
enjoy beating people up and keeping people in line, you know. So
Yeah. Well, what goes around comes around.
That's right.
But it was in a really funny way that made me roar with laughter.
Oh yeah,
when
yeah.
I found out
And
what
again, I
happened
know
to
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We won't give it away, but
No.
that also came just as I wrote along, and you know, some of the details related to the crucifixion, directly related to an electric guitar and stuff, play a role in what happens to our friend Donnie.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So that part was
That's
really
cool.
funny.
You remember that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
I enjoyed
rather
writing that
unforgettable.
part. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you know, the guitar stuff, talking about the chords and the sounds and all that, and the power of music. As a musician, that was really interesting to me because I do believe in the power of music.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
I brought my guitar along today, and
Yeah,
you can see that he has a broken hip.
Yeah, it looks like
he's in terrible shape.
Did you dig this up in Egypt? It looks like
it does.
seen better days here.
Yeah, it looks like it came from Egypt, but I'll tell you what happened. I had this guitar when I was very, very young, and that was a very long time ago. But I was at a beach party.
Oh, so this is really your own
This really is
instrument.
my own guitar.
From childhood?
From childhood,
Oh,
yeah.
very cool.
And I was at a beach party when I was in college, and we were all sitting there in the sand, and I was playing the guitar, and we were all singing, and my back was to the ocean. And I was singing, and all of a sudden I looked up, and there was no one there. They all ran away because they saw the wave coming, and I didn't. So this is Sugarfoot is his name. He was named after a horse, Sugarfoot. And so Sugarfoot and I got drenched. And that's the result, his broken hip.
Okay, that's, yeah, sure, that looks like water damage.
He sounds pretty bad.
Yeah.
So,
now, in one of my books or stories, you'd be playing a song at a campfire with your back to the beach, but a large tentacle or something would snag you in Sugarfoot.
Yeah, I was lucky there wasn't a shark there. But yeah, it was just water. And my father gave this guitar to my cousin David many years ago after his hip got damaged. Is that his hip? I guess so. Or his shoulder.
Or his face or something, yeah.
Yeah, he's just pretty badly damaged. But my father gave that guitar away to my cousin David. And at a recent birthday party, when I just turned 21, my cousin David was there, of course, and he gave it back to me.
Oh,
He
that's
said,
nice.
I thought you should have this back again.
Yeah.
So a guitar can be like a person. So there's my guitar.
Yeah. Well, a guitar to me is one of the maybe the most diverse instruments ever made. And
Yeah.
I mean, I could be biased because that's the only instrument I play, but it's always an instrument that is involved in almost every genre of music worldwide. And just when you think you've heard every guitar chord or riff or something, someone comes up with something new.
Yeah.
And at home, I have guitar synthesizer equipment now with a special pickup, so I can play this guitar with this pickup and sound like a piano, a violin, wood, all kind. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
And it's just an amazing instrument. The Armageddon chord, using a guitar as a tool to bring about the apocalypse and to just do this global devastation, if you will, is just part of what me personally believe in the power of a guitar. I'm not saying that it's an instrument of evil or mass destruction.
But it could be.
Right, yeah, exactly. Musical destruction or something. But it's just powerful.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
amazing
it's polyphonic. It's not, you don't play just one note on it. You could.
Right.
But with the chords, and it's just like a piano. I mean, the piano is like an orchestra, right? You can play the melody and the harmony and the rhythm, everything on the piano. And you can do the same thing on a guitar. You can play, I'm preaching to the choir here, telling you what you can do on a guitar, but it can do everything.
It can. And look at again, with the different genres of music, people like Andre Segovia took a guitar and did these masterpieces of classical music, Bach and Mozart and whoever else, and did it on a classical guitar. I mean, that's amazing. That was work that came from, great piano pieces or violins and stuff, and then jazz, orchestral, right? So again, that just shows the diversity of the instrument, and I don't know, just I love, actually, I just thought of this now, aside from Kirk Weistow, who's the main character, I just realized the guitar is actually the main character. Yeah. So
along with him.
Yeah.
They're like inseparable.
Exactly. Yeah.
A man and his guitar.
Exactly.
But neither one could cause the effect without the other.
Without the other, exactly.
So it's that partnership.
Right.
Yeah.
And you learn the two together become a channel to do extraordinary things.
Exactly, and that's true so much about music. There has been so much channeling of thoughts and ideas and wisdom and everything through a person and an instrument.
Yes.
And that could even be the human voice, a singer.
Exactly.
That's an instrument too.
Right.
But the power of music, and you talk a little bit about that in the book, and that was really fascinating.
Exactly.
But it is so powerful.
Right. To your point of the power of music, I've never in my life met anyone who wasn't a music fan or didn't at least like one song or music, and it evokes emotion. Anything you hear, boom, it's powerful.
Yeah. Well, when you think of there's music for the feet, dance music, right? And then there's music for the heart, sentimental music, and there's music for the brain.
Yes.
Technically great music.
Yes.
Music for the soul, Mr. Beethoven, Mr. Bach.
That's right, yeah.
And so there's a type of music for everything. And music can incite you to kill. I mean, I always think of the French national anthem, La Marseillaise. Kill.
My stepson will tell you Justin Bieber will incite you to kill too.
Oh, well, you know what? Yes, a lot of music incites me to kill, so I just don't listen to it. I'm very judicious about what I listen to.
Yeah.
But there is some noise that passes itself off for music, and it isn't music at all.
Yeah.
It's just noise.
Right.
And so much is done to change it around, and you know, it's artificial. And so a singer who is a bad singer can be made to sound like a good singer until you hear them in person, and then you say, wow, this person can't sing.
Yeah.
But you can't really do that on an instrument too much.
No, you can
It
either
is what it is.
yeah, you either play in tune and can actually play, or you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're playing the violin and it's scratchy.
Right. Yeah.
When I lived in Boston during college, I was trying to play double stops on a violin, and there was a knock at the door, and it was the police. And they said, who's playing the violin? And I said, oh, I am. I thought they were going to compliment me on it. And they said, well, one of your neighbors complained.
They wanted to haul you to jail.
They said, play something. And so I said, well, all right. So I tried to play something, and they just looked at each other.
Like,
So
no.
they said, whose guitar is that? I said, mine. They said, you better stick to that guitar.
Yeah.
I was just learning the violin and not too good at it.
Well, I don't sing at all. I do, only two things I do well, I think, that's play guitar and write fiction. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You write well. So,
Yeah.
well,
Thank you.
you must write good songs then, good lyrics.
I try. Yeah. I just write what I like, and it's usually dark fiction or horror. You know, most of the lyrics I've written with Broken Hope have been horror related or based, and I've written short stories based off some of those lyrics just because I like the ideas so much. Writing those lyrics was great training to get where I'm at now. Lyrics, poetry, into short stories into novels. So, and I've written 2 new novels since the Armageddon Corps. Yeah. So I'm editing those right now. So I love being a novelist. It's awesome. Yeah.
Well, we don't have much time left, but let me just ask you, what do you think, if you had to make a choice between being a musician or being a writer, if you had to choose, which one would you choose right now based on the way you feel?
Holy cow. Yeah,
Awful
you put
choice.
me, boy, did you put me in a corner. That is, because the two are, you know, I like to say they're my, you know, 2 greatest passions. My wife likes to think there's 3 great passions. Mine, she's the third, or the first.
Well, you could write, you could write horror.
But, yeah, right now, you
could write horror fiction about music. Or you could write a song about horror fiction.
Well, my publisher said I created a new genre of fiction, the heavy metal thriller. Yeah, the CEO of the publishing company, KRP.
Oh, that's
so I
great.
like that. Right now, Terry, I get such a joy out of writing. It is kind of in the driver's seat, but it's so hard, you know, because I love
music.
Music's in my soul, but.
Oh, you could write and listen to music at the same time.
Yeah, which I do. So, all right, I'll take right now. If you said you got no choice, music or writing a book, I'll write a book and listen to music, I guess. So.
Okay, and there we have a good choice.
It's hard to say. That's tough though. Yeah. To think of never playing a guitar again. Yeah.
Well, you can always borrow this one if you want.
Oh, well, thanks for that. That would be an honor.
Well, thank you for coming today. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Me too.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching Books and Authors. This is Terry Kelly and Jerry Wagner saying goodbye for now.